In the journey of existence, understanding the origins of suffering is a profound endeavor. A central tenet in many philosophical traditions posits that attachment lies at the very root of all pain. This perspective, when explored with an open mind, offers a pathway to a more serene and unburdened life. Attachment in this context refers to a clinging or grasping to things, ideas, people, outcomes, and even a particular self-image. It is not merely an appreciation or enjoyment of these elements, but a deep-seated reliance on them for one's sense of well-being, happiness, or identity. When such reliance is established, the stability of one's inner state becomes inextricably linked to the presence or absence, the gain or loss, of the object of attachment. Consider the attachment to material possessions. An individual might derive significant joy from owning a beautiful home or a valuable car. However, if this joy is rooted in attachment, then the thought of losing these possessions can induce anxiety, fear, and even despair. A scratch on the car, a fault in the house, or the potential for theft becomes a source of distress, not because of the practical inconvenience, but because the attachment has made the individual's happiness dependent on the flawless existence of these items. The impermanence of all material things guarantees that this attachment will, at some point, lead to pain. Similarly, emotional attachments to people can be a profound source of both joy and sorrow. The love and companionship shared are invaluable. Yet, when love transmutes into attachment, it can manifest as possessiveness, jealousy, or an overwhelming fear of separation. The desire for a relationship to remain unchanged, for a loved one to always meet certain expectations, or for their presence to be a perpetual source of personal fulfillment, sets the stage for suffering. Life is characterized by change, by the independent paths individuals take, and by the inevitable reality of loss. To cling to a static ideal of a relationship, or to believe that another person is solely responsible for one's happiness, creates a fragile foundation for emotional peace. When expectations are unmet, when paths diverge, or when loss occurs, the pain experienced is directly proportional to the depth of the attachment. Attachment extends beyond the tangible and the interpersonal. It also encompasses ideas, beliefs, and even one's own sense of self. An attachment to a particular ideology, for instance, can lead to rigidity of thought, intolerance of differing viewpoints, and intense emotional reactions when those beliefs are challenged. This can create conflict not only externally, but also within, as the individual struggles to reconcile external realities with deeply held, inflexible convictions. Furthermore, an attachment to a specific self-image, how one perceives oneself or how one wishes to be perceived by others, can be a subtle yet potent source of pain. The desire to always be seen as competent, attractive, successful, or virtuous can lead to constant striving, fear of failure, and deep self-criticism when one falls short of these ideals. Authenticity can be sacrificed for the sake of maintaining a carefully constructed facade, leading to an inner sense of unease and disconnect. The inherent fluidity of life and the multifaceted nature of human experience mean that no single self-image can be perpetually sustained without considerable effort and eventual frustration. The pain arising from attachment is fundamentally linked to the concept of impermanence. Everything in the phenomenal world, be it a material object, a relationship, a feeling, a thought, or a physical body, is subject to change, decay, and eventual dissolution. Attachment seeks to resist this fundamental truth, to hold on to what is inherently fleeting. This resistance creates a tension, an internal struggle against the natural flow of existence. When the inevitable change occurs, the attachment is severed, and the suffering arises from this severance, from the perceived loss of what was clung to. It is the clinging, not the object itself, that creates the condition for pain. Understanding this dynamic is the first step towards liberation. The pathway to letting go is not about detachment in the sense of apathy or indifference. It is not about ceasing to love, to appreciate, or to engage with life. Rather, it is about cultivating a different relationship with experiences and objects, one characterized by non-clinging. Cultivating awareness is paramount. This involves observing one's thoughts, emotions, and reactions without judgment. When a desire arises, or when a sense of possessiveness or fear of loss emerges, one can simply acknowledge it. Here is a feeling of attachment, one might observe. This act of observation creates a subtle distance, a space between the individual and the attachment, preventing automatic reactivity. Mindfulness practices are invaluable tools in this process. By focusing on the present moment, on the breath, or on sensory experiences, one can gently train the mind to release its habitual grasping at past regrets or future anxieties. The present moment, by its very nature, is free from the conceptual burdens of attachment. Spending time in nature, observing its cycles of growth and decay, can also serve as a powerful reminder of impermanence and the futility of resistance. Another crucial aspect of letting go involves redefining one's sources of happiness and security. If happiness is sought solely in external conditions or in the continuous acquisition of things or experiences, it will always be precarious. True well-being, when unburdened by attachment, emerges from within. It is a state of equanimity, resilience, and inner peace that is not dependent on the fluctuations of the external world. This involves cultivating virtues such as compassion, generosity, and contentment, which are inherently independent of external validation or possession. Practicing gratitude for what is present without needing it to remain perpetually also aids in this process. One can appreciate the beauty of a sunset without needing to own it, or enjoy the company of a loved one without needing them to fulfill every emotional need. This allows for a richer, more authentic engagement with life, free from the heavy burden of expectation and fear of loss. Ultimately, letting go is an ongoing practice, a continuous process of gentle release. It is not a one-time event, but a gradual unlearning of deeply ingrained habits of mind. As one learns to loosen the grip of attachment, a profound sense of freedom emerges. The mind becomes less agitated, emotions become more balanced, and a deep, abiding peace begins to settle within. Life's inevitable challenges and changes no longer produce the same depth of suffering, for the foundation of one's well-being is no longer built on shifting sands, but on an inner resilience cultivated through understanding and acceptance. This path, though requiring consistent effort, leads to a life lived with greater ease, clarity, and genuine contentment.